Hey, Train Parkour update mid-March 2022. A lot of stuff has changed. Let me give a demo here. So we now have a UI here. Let's look at settings. So this is settings to toggle the enablement of marathons here, which is interesting. I created a lot of them and it was kind of overwhelming them, having them like pop up all the time. So you can toggle them off here. It's per session, they stay the way you set them. I'm working on having it stay permanently. The other thing, so another big thing, kind of subtle, that's changed, if you'll notice, I added borders, I added padding to everything. So it looks a little bit better. It's still a bit cluttered. I haven't done it to the run results screen yet, but that's coming. But I've done it to leaderboard and to the ephemeral notifications in the lower right. I think it improves things a little bit. I'm not sure if this existed last time, the warp button. So now for most runs, after you're done, you can warp back to where you started if you want to try again. This kind of changes the feel of the game quite a bit. But it hasn't really harmed it. I mean, you still kind of have to know your way around. It's just it lets you like really get into how a certain run should go more easily. Okay, other stuff that's changed is there's now badges. There's a lot of badges, and there's a progress bar display. My account is a little messed up because of testing and stuff. Like I have some things that doesn't make sense for me to really have, but it's all right. So I think this is kind of fun. This really lets me add a bunch of stuff. Future development here is if someone else is in the game, I should be able to click and see. Oh, why didn't those disappear? That's weird. I should be able to click and see their, okay, so this is a bug. Their badges here, and then it should compare, like you've got it, they've got it, etc. So you can say like, hey, how'd you get this? Or whatever. Other stuff that's changed. On the back end, a lot has changed actually. Like, stuff is way better now to make development faster. Oh, fonts. This is such a minor appearing update, but standardize the way I do generation of text and UIs and stuff, and I think it looks better. Other than that, nothing too big. I mean, I think there's a lot of background work going on. Oh, I redid the way these are calculated to try to make it more standard. I fixed the knockout thing. There's more signs. There's like 390 now or something. People are... Oh, that was weird. So yeah, it's a bit weird how sometimes you don't catch when you touch a sign like that. So yeah, what's up next? I still want to do... So now imagine two cool things you could do as like a way to play the game. Ephemeral marathon. So imagine if there's a little button here called like generate marathon, which would generate a random marathon of a certain type, like either find signs in this sequence, like a random jumble of letters, or find signs which in total have this property, like this number of whatever, like 4 A's and 2 S's or something like that. You'd have to, basically the point is to incentivize people to do dynamic routing. Ideally it would be stable per day, so every day there'd be like an implicit competition. Next to it there'd be a button that says show me the top 10 for this as you go. So it's like, instead of 5 to 100, this would be today's marathon. Here there would be a signifier of what you actually have to do it. If you click this, it pops a top 10 of the day list. So that's number one. Number two is integration of random race to here. So you click random race, you just like this, you drop here, you're here, and then it says you have to go to some location. You have like 5 minutes to find the best route to get there. It's pretty far. There's other people on the server. They're all doing it. You can see them, but you're all on your own timers. And then at the end of 5 minutes, the thing pops up saying like, hey, you competed in this random race. You got this. So the hard part of all of these is how to do persistence. Like, I want there to be some record. I mean, we have the Ticks award event. Like, you got 4 ticks for doing whatever. But ideally, there'd be some sort of tracking on the server. The problem is syncing is a bit hard. They don't want to do everything on the back end. Like, it's a big pain. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, I think we're close and it should be doable pretty quickly. As sort of the next, it's like an activity that people could do. So it's a pretty valuable thing to add. The other thing that's coming, yeah, fixing this font stuff. Probably get rid of the monospace font here, switch back to this. We'll see how it looks. Oh, the other cool thing is I really want user profile. So imagine here you have profile, and then imagine if someone else's game and you click here, it pops profile. Profile is like, it's like this, except with much more detail. So a visual representation of everything you've done by day, your relative ranking towards other people in the server, your relative ranking towards people you declare as like your rival, stuff like that. I think this is kind of doable now. It was pretty easy to create this basic UI and fun. I mean, there's still things to fix about it. So that's number one idea, or that's probably the third big idea. The other one is, oh yeah, so I also want to leverage settings in a more generic way. So what's going on with this? Is that actually, okay, so it just wasn't toggling off in certain cases. So imagine here, instead of a setting, this were a question like, do you think we should delete this certain sign? Or do you think whatever? And then here is basically your vote. And we can tell if you've clicked or you've left it empty. And then there's a way to just see what other people have voted too. So it's a continuously running aggregation system for input. Another one would be a setting for what kind of player are you? Like, are you finder, racer, grinder, etc.? Another sort of even better version, which is kind of more broad than just a simple Boolean, is what is your in-game goal? So you could say, my goal is to win a sign. My goal is to find 200. My goal is to get 50 badges or whatever. And then we would do custom tracking of that and even have that be part of your profile. Like, I think a thing that's always been missing from these kind of achievement-based games is the social aspect of not just what you've done, but what you'd like to do, like your ambition. Because when you talk to somebody in real life, I mean, their ambition comes up a lot, right? It's important. And so the system should support that for them. All right, new areas. Are there any new areas? Yeah, there's a lot. Oh, there's ice area, which I think is probably new since last time. Let's go over there and just do a bit of a run around. So let's go all the way to the outer end. So I've been paying a lot more attention to naturalism in design here. I've come back and smoothed out a lot of the sort of obvious, like, you can see the brush strokes type of situation. I think it's a bit bad when people know I'm using terrain tools. I mean, they know I'm using terrain tools because it's Roblox, but they know that also because, like, you can see the brush strokes. I think it's just terrible, unless it's intentional. So I tried to make this area a bit more. There's new terrain tools stuff out, like much better smoothing and flattening, which I really love, and just tried to use some of that. So I think this is kind of cool. It's still boring because there's no, like, region intersections. Like, there's nothing behind this, so there's no, you don't actually have to cross at different angles very much. But I still think it's, I mean, ice is such a good texture. You can kind of tell how I made this, but hopefully I've discussed it a little bit. Oh yeah, the sign font changed, which required lengthening a bunch of the signs. So the average sign has gotten bigger so that it doesn't wrap. But I don't think it's doing anybody any harm. And it'll be better in the future. Kind of holding off on adding new signs for a while. I think badges are where it's at. Badges and functions and UIs are the big thing for a while now. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have fun.